Something we're hearing on Twitter. St. Louis has the chance to change the country. That's a tall order. Do we think that's from the person we see right there on the screen, Jador Kennedy, at Jador Kennedy. St. Louis has the chance to change the country. How do we do that?
You know, one thing we can do is to sort of reimagine what community policing looks like for St. Louis and for the nation. We talk about community policing as a partnership, and a true partnership means that is the community involved in the hiring process of police officers? Are they involved in the promotion process? Are they involved in the policies and procedures that police departments put in place? Do they have some mechanism of complaint and oversight over police departments? What does it look like when a person is arrested and they don't have the means to pay their fine? Do we continue to issue bench warrants over and over again and they continue to get arrested, or there's another way to deal with that? So we've sort of dumbed down community policing to simply getting out in the community and talking to people, which is very, very important, creating that dialogue between people. But there is a larger conversation about what does it really mean for the community to be a partner in policing and keeping safety.
How do we change the country?
I think we change the country if we realize this is one of those moments. I was, last couple of days I've been in conversations, I was reminded that someone said, well, we've never been here before, it's largely a group of African Americans. I said, yeah, if we think about the fact that we have been here before, it may be helpful. In 1917, East St. Louis race riots, we created a platform that has been so sustainable that has lasted 100 years. It's called the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis. It's impacted has demonstrable impact on the African American community since then. Will we be so thoughtful, so creative, so intentional that we put some kind of infrastructure in place to change the next 100 years for African Americans in this community? And I challenged a friend of mine who works in City Hall and said, you know, I know that the mayor, you know, our mayor talks about being a world-class city again, and we can, but the reality now is we've got nothing but the Arch and Ferguson. So unless we recognize that the international narrative for St. Louis for the next 2 generations is the Arch and Ferguson, then we will not be a world-class city again. And the only way to do that is to say we have learned so much from Ferguson. The only narrative we have is to say we learned from Ferguson so much that we transformed how we did everything. We transformed how we did community policing. We transformed how we did public education. We transformed how we did transportation-oriented development to make sure it got to neighborhoods, to keep people connected because we learned from Ferguson. That is our only hope. Lit over 70, nobody's gonna remember that. They're gonna remember the Arch and Ferguson, so we can only hope to learn these lessons and demonstrate that we have become world class because we responded to the most intractable issues in this community and in this country.
Do you think everyone will be on board? Will everyone be pulling, Reverend?
I certainly hope so. I think this is a defining moment in the history of our metropolitan area. You know, we've had these wounds for so long. And someone said that St. Louis is not known for rioting. We've gone through the death of Martin Luther King. We've gone through a lot of things in history, and St. Louis was the only one that didn't riot. Well, it's happened now, and it exposes that there's something wrong. And so we need to listen to each other. We need to appreciate each other and understand the pains and the issues that we go through, the differences that we have, the similarities that we have that can bring us together, and not gloss over the things that pull us apart.
I want to be hopeful that we will want to do that, but I'm really afraid that my worst fear in the world is that the case is going to play itself out how it plays itself out, right? And there's going to come a moment when a bunch of money is going to pour into this community from the federal government, from private foundations, and they're going to say, let's get a table of people who know what's going on in St. Louis from the community to tell us what to do. And we're going to assemble the same group of people that have been sitting around this table for the last 40 years, not addressing those problems. If we don't get some of those leaders who are out there protecting those stores from some people who are directly impacted by what we're talking about, it'll be the biggest failure in this city, in this region.
Let's keep